and those who are joining virtually. My honor to chair this committee meeting of the State Board of Education today. It's August the 20th, and I think I'm stand adjourned. But I want to open today's meeting by first thanking the Atlanta Area School for the Deaf for hosting us today. We've just taken a tour of the school, seeing all the wonderful things that are going on here. As many of you in the audience and also on our virtual streaming service know, the State Board of Education is the Board of Education for our state schools. And we're very proud of the work they do and the staff here, students. And it was a real pleasure getting to see the wonderful things that are going on here at Atlanta Area School for the Deaf. So to the staff and leadership here, thank you for hosting us. Those of you that were around last year, remember we planned on having this meeting here a year ago. And because of a fire the day before at the school, we were unable to do that. But we're glad to be here, and thank you again for hosting. I want to take a moment to give our Georgia Teacher of the Year the chance to introduce herself. I'm sure that by now all of you know Rachel Kensall, or if you haven't met her, you'll have the pleasure soon. But this is her first official meeting with us since she could not be with us in July. So Rachel, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from and all of that.
I'm Rachel Kensall. This is year 15 for me in the classroom. Well, I guess I'm not in the classroom this year. I would be. I teach agriculture. So I teach floral design and forestry and intro to ag and horticulture. So I'm excited to get to go check out the greenhouse today. I am from Morgan County. So I've been in Morgan County for the last 9 years. I taught in Pike County Middle for the first 3 and then Loganville High School. So I've done some time in middle school and high school, but I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited to get to advocate for ag and CTAE throughout the year and just kind of be the voice for the teachers across the state. So thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. A little extra pride on my part. Although Rachel and I did not have the pleasure of working together, I had retired before she came to Morgan County. I still live in Morgan County and I call it home. So it's an extra plus for me to have Rachel on the state board this year in my final 6 months as the chair. So welcome, Rachel. We know we're all going to benefit. I'll say what I've said to every other teacher of the year. The board behaves a little bit better when the teachers are in the room. So we're really glad for your presence here and for your input and for echoing the voice of teachers. And we're counting on you. So thank you. It is now for us to begin our budget committee meeting. Before we begin, I want to make sure, because I'm counting heads, I want to make sure that we have a quorum today. Mr. Ellis, are you with us this morning?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right. Mr. Griffin.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Ms. Garrett.
I'm present. Good morning.
Good morning. And Mr. Downing.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Great. That gives us a quorum so we can begin. I will ask Russ Roan to take us through the budget items. Russ.
Item 1 is a commercial warehouse and storage grant. Purpose of this grant is to support School Food Authority by reimbursing expenses incurred by the storage and delivery of USDA foods during the FY 2025 year. The total grant amount is not to exceed $3,172,326.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Roan? Any questions from the board members joining us online? Is there any objection to adding this to the consent agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll do that. Item number 2, Mr. Rusk.
All right, item number 2 is a grant amendment for a commercial warehouse and storage. The purpose of this grant is to support school food authorities by reimbursing expenses incurred by the storage and delivery of USDA foods during a FY 2024 year. The amount of the amendment is $1,172,301, which brings the total grant amount to $2,024. It took a little time to get this as we were waiting on some of the uncertainty with federal funds. That's why it's the way getting here with this one much.
All right. Any questions about this item? Hearing none, is there any objection to adding this to the consent agenda? All right. Item 3.
Item 3 is a contract with Lexia Learning Systems. The purpose of this contract is to provide in-person literacy professional learning for early childhood educators of students with IEPs and licensed subscription for up to 640 teachers, paraprofessionals, and speech language therapists. The total contract amount is not to exceed $368,000.
Questions about this agenda item? Ms. Kennemore?
If I could, John, if you could give us just a little information about this, it's very interesting as I was reading through it.
So this will be for anyone who teaches preschool students with IEPs, so they could be right start, Cal teachers, also parapros. We're giving out 640 licenses for online modules for the letters training. We're also going to have in-person training utilizing the 60 LESA districts. That'll be for 2 days, up to 40 people per side.
Thank you. As I was reading through it, this is very important because that was one of the gaps that we had in the literacy with the teachers of the younger kids with the IEPs. And also when I saw this, I was very excited because that's going to help build literacy as the years go by. Thank you. Thank you
very much.
Any questions from those online? Is there any objection to adding this to the consent agenda? All right. Next item.
Item 4 is a contract with the American Association of Adaptive Sports Programs. This contract will support students with mobile disabilities by providing them opportunities to participate in wheelchair sports. Funding for this has been appropriated by the Georgia General Assembly, and the total contract amount is not to exceed $400,000.
Ms. Kennemore?
Is anybody here from AAASP? April?
I can give y'all a few details about that. I can tell you that during this last school year with the same funding level, 23 districts were served, basketball, handball, football, track and field, a total of 12 teams. So this funding goes to support those teams and services for the students to participate.
If you've never gone to any of these games, I've gone to wheelchair basketball. It's very exciting and they are very excited to get our support. So if you have an opportunity to go, do you have a contact for us to get a schedule of some of the games?
I'll get that and make sure we get a schedule to you guys so you'll have the opportunity to participate. Really cool. 291 student athletes benefited from this support in the last school year. So
It has been a growing sport.
Yeah.
Which is, amazing. Again, Ms. Kennemore's point, if you want to see a full contact sport, go see basketball. It's at a different level, I assure you.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I second and third what both Superintendent and Ms. Kennemore said. It's not to be missed. If you have the opportunity, don't miss it. Any questions online? Any objection to adding this to the consent agenda? All right, next item.
Item 5 is a contract with College Board Advanced Placement Exams. This contract is to obtain services and products related to the provision of AP exams for public school students in May of 2026. The total contract amount is not to exceed $4,090,130.
Questions about this item? Ms. Kennemore?
I have a question concerning the estimated number. Is there an estimated number of exams that may be given, considering the Senate Bill 63 that includes the homeschool students that are able to participate in their local public school?
So last year, there was a total of 69,054 tests that were administered in the state of Georgia. About half of those were the STEM ones, about half were the fee reduced. So there is no exact estimate of how Senate Bill 63 will impact that. But what that will do is it will allow homeschool students to be able to go and register at their local LEA. And so because there's really no data tracking for that, what we will do is we estimate, there will be some increase in that, but we'll be tracking that with our coordinators at the schools. We'll have a better guess of that next year, but that's what school districts are doing right now, is establishing their processes so students can go and register for both AP courses and PSAT.
Dr. Owens, do you know if there's a deadline for that registration? I know that's what's set by College Board.
So the deadline for the registration will be set by the local LEA because it'll have to be in alignment with however they allow their enrolled students to register. AP will have a later deadline just because that ordering happens in 2 cycles, where PSAT has an earlier deadline, which will happen probably by the end of this month, because that test is administered for free during the month of October, not on Saturday administrations. So it'll take us all year to kind of really see how Senate Bill 63 impacts the overall amount of tests that are administered in the state.
And I believe sometimes we have to go to the General Assembly during the amended budget.
The base has been addressed for several years, so we typically have to ask for additional funds.
Yeah.
Independent. Okay.
Yeah, we will definitely have to do that. We have to do that just based on student enrollment in current public schools. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any objection to putting this on the consent agenda? Thank you. Next item.
Item 6 is a contract with Georgia Southern University Research and Service Foundation. This contract is to develop a supplementary secondary math pilot program that will reach all areas of the state and provide support services for students working toward mastering the learning expectations described in Georgia's K-12 mathematics standards. Total contract amount is not to exceed $475,000.
Any questions for Mr. Roan? Sorry, Mr. Donaldson couldn't be with us today. As a Georgia Southern graduate, I know he'd be want to sing the fight song. Let's talk about it.
Just get a little bit more information about what you mean when you say supplemental secondary pilot program. I mean, you just got through that. I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, sure. I'll be happy to give you a little more information about that. So it's a supplemental program because it's not a core. It's meant to go in and support, provide interventions. It is targeted. It's a pilot program. It is targeted for grades 6 through 12. And so Georgia Southern is our connecting partner, and they are actually working directly with Math Nation. And that group is working with LEAs across our state. We're also working with our Office of Rural Ed to help identify and connect districts who might be interested in participating in the pilot. Currently, we have 17 school districts who are engaged in this work directly with Math Nation, and they are looking to grow that pilot to between 20 to 25. And so it's really just a way to go in and support and help provide intervention and support for mathematics instruction. Again, targeted to that 6th grade through 12th grade, which is sometimes where you often see a lot more intervention conversation and pilot opportunities at that early elementary levels.
So it's an intervention program as opposed to
It's not a core, correct?
advanced or extra.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for the question. Any questions online? Any objection to adding this to the consent agenda? All right, we'll do that. Next item.
Item 7 is a grant. This is the Paraprofessional Teacher Reimbursement Grant. This grant will support the recruitment of teachers in local education agencies and the Georgia Network for Educational and Therapeutic Supports programs by providing financial support to paraprofessionals completing their teaching certification through the Georgia TAP program. Total contract amount is not to exceed $730,000.
So that's on certification.
pay for that.
It's 23 funds, the continuation of the 5 million that's put in.
Okay, great. On a related topic, but maybe not to this item, can we get an update at some point in time on the Teach in the Peach and how it's doing at some point? Because I know it's just been kicked off, but I'd love to know how that's doing. Okay, thank you.
Well, relevant to your question, Ms. Zoller, Superintendent Woods, several members of his staff, Ms. Petty and I are engaged with a new group effort, multi-agency group effort that is in that response to the Senate resolution. Is it 237? I believe it is. About teacher retention and recruitment. The Teach in the Peach was a big topic of discussion at our first meeting, and our next meeting will occur next week. Actually, it'll occur at the State Board of Education meeting room next week. So we'll keep the board as that initiative moves along. I'm sure
Well,
you're going to hear from all of us.
Yeah,
on
and I
this.
think what's really important about all of this is that, okay, so you hear in the news and other places how hard a time people are having finding jobs, right? And I do a lot of mentoring of people in their 20s and 30s that I hear this from a lot. But then when you try to approach them about a teaching job or being a teacher, there's almost always in that, oh, I don't want to do that. The things that people usually looked at as teaching, flexible schedule, all that, they've heard a lot of negative things over the last. I think not only do we have to, be important as far as grants that we have and help people get certification and all that, we need to do a better job, starting now in talking more about teaching professions. So anyway, rebranding. Yep.
Couldn't agree more.
Sorry, I know that was a little bit off the topic, but yeah.
No, it's not. It's connected to. Any other questions or comments? Yes.
With the number of paraprofessionals on into this program, do you have a number or roundabout figure of the number of candidates that they have?
So I will get back to you with a number because this is the third iteration of the Parent-to-Teacher grant. And so it's a reimbursement grant. So what that means is that a paraprofessional has to finish the entire 2-year program before they're able to submit for reimbursement. So you have a little bit of lagging the number that are started and the number that are actually finished. So I can get that to let you know exactly how many have finished. Based on this grant, that there are others that may have gone through the TAP program out of this grant.
Okay, well, that's good. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Any objection to adding item 7 to the consent agenda? All right. Item 8.
Item 8 is a contract renewal with Mythics Inc. This contract renewal will provide Oracle software licenses, support, and hosting services for the agency's data collection, financial application, and reporting systems technical infrastructure. The total grant amount is not to exceed $285,000.
Questions? Those who are joining us online? Any objection to adding this to the consent agenda?
I have,
You have a question or a comment?
Yeah. Osborne, how will this help you? I know I was looking at Mythics is a part of Oracle or it's a program from Oracle. So I know you have a lot going on in that area. So
we have, Oracle is one of the 2 types of databases that we use to store the gazillions of records and whatnot. Obviously, as part of the state initiative to do a lift and shift towards the cloud, that's where Mythics, the organization, helped us. So we store a portion of our databases in that particular area. They give us both support. Obviously, they give us infrastructure from that standpoint, and then our team engages with that. But that literally is where just a tremendous amount of our new SRS, our new data collection system, where those data are.
thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll add that to the consent agenda. Next item.
Item 9 is a grant. This is our FY 26 Student Mental Behavioral Health Services Grant. The FY 2026 state budget appropriated funds to establish Student Mental Behavioral Health Services Grant for middle and high schools in the amount of $20,000 per school. The total grant amount is not to exceed $19,360,000. This is a formula grant based on how many schools.
Mr.
Okay,
Hill,
Ms. Karen.
could you tell us more about this and also the oversight for how is this going to affect the different districts that receive? I know it's $20,000 per school.
Based on the number of middle school and high school students, formula based. We're working with the budget writers, come up with established guidance. We kind of going back and forth. But once that's finalized, we'll put that out to districts. We'll have a midterm survey, end of the year report to provide a progress report of where the money's being spent.
Ms. Stockwell?
So is the idea the districts are gonna, they write a plan or something for how they're gonna use their funds, or is it, everybody's using it the same way? And if so, what would that be?
Wide parameters, show some categories that will be allowable expenses that they can choose to spend it based on the needs of the student.
Like what? Give me some examples.
It could be something in lane of suicide prevention training for all students. Could be
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any objection to adding this item to the consent agenda? All right. Next item.
Item 10 is our 50 to 250 contract. Is there anything on there?
I have,
Now, we have 12 items, so give yourself a minute to look at all of these, and if you haven't already had the opportunity to do that, but Ms. Kimball?
okay, first I want to, I was hoping Leslie would be here, but maybe somebody else can answer about the Georgia Mobile Audiology. I see they're all over Central Savannah River, Coastal Plains, Southwest Georgia, heart of Georgia. That is phenomenal, and I was just wondering, you know, if having them do that all over the state of the summer, if they were able to identify children that maybe candidates come into the state school.
This can work. The work goes on year round, and typically the RESA contracts for a certain number of visits because they already identified students in the year. So it's not necessarily exploratory, it's going to help kids that are already identified. But in the process of doing what they do identify additional students, and so that's what makes it worth their while to pay our expenses for the audio, the vehicle to go around the state. And so.
And how's the vehicle performing these days?
Quite well.
Okay, good.
Mechanically wonderful. The equipment is all up to date.
Okay. It would be nice for some of our new board members to be able to see the mobile audiology vehicle so that they can go in and have a close-up in-person look of it.
Bring it downtown.
We'll work with the schedule. We'll
work that out.
meetings.
We've done that. before.
Yeah.
We have,
I want
and
the new members to see.
and we
it.
approved funds in the past for addition, but, you know, so,
Right.
yeah, I think for the new board members, it would be helpful. Thank you, Luke. Ms. Stockwell?
What was the underlying contract for the Classic Center?
Yeah, I got that too.
Of the school nutrition that's the school nutrition directors conference.
Oh, okay. That helps. That answers that.
I saw $6,000 worth of meal enhancement. I'm like, what kind of enhancement was that?
But that makes total sense.
Oh,
Got it. Nutrition's for the conference. Got it.
And that's where it's traditional.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's, I just didn't know that. That's fine.
I have a question. Atlanta Speak School, working, with our BHH. Anybody can share more information about that?
Yeah, but these were, if you recall, we had a contract with the hospitals. That's, this has 4 more modules and kind of closed out that project.
Okay.
Any additional questions or comments about these items? All right, hearing none, is there any objection to adding item 10 to the consent agenda? All right. Russ, is there anything else on your list?
I do not have anything else.
But let me make sure I've got this right. By my count, all items 1 through 10 will be added to the consent agenda for our committee of the whole meeting today.
That's correct.
All right. It is 9:58 or 56, and we are not able to start our rules committee meeting until 10:15. I keep trying to get this right. I never ever get this right. We either do it too long or too short. So we'll take a brief 15-minute recess. Those of you in the audience, I think you'll find some refreshments out in the hall, board members as well. And we will gavel back in at 10:15 sharp for rules committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
agenda. One of our board members who's joining us online, one of our new board members, Christy Garrett from District 3, who's joining us online, has a comment she'd like to make. Christy, floor is yours.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just wanted to take an opportunity to give a quick shout out to Meriwether County Schools and Dr. Griffin and his team down there. I know he has already thanked me for the grant for the mental behavior health services grant that will go on the consent agenda. I toured their system yesterday and saw their wraparound resource centers, their care centers. It is phenomenal. So just reassuring the board and those out there what is happening is unbelievable. And those funds I know will be put to good use.
Thank you very much for the comment. I have a comment to add to relative to the question or the comment that Martha Zoller made about teacher recruitment and retention. I got a text from our good friend over at the Professional Standards Commission, Dr. Jody Barrow, who is heading up this initiative with, as it relates to Senate Resolution 237. And he wanted you to know, Martha, and wanted the public to know that hopefully one of the small groups about marketing and values will be able to identify specific solution strategies that you mentioned in your statement. So and move the needle on that. So he wanted me to make sure that you knew that. And Dr. Barrow, thank you for joining us online as well. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Petty to take us through the Rules Committee agenda.
Dr. Taylor, item number 1, repeal of State Board Rule 160-4-2-.40.
This rule repeal is being requested for initiation, which means that if it is approved, it will be posted for at least 30 days for public review and comment. State Board Rule 160-4-2-.40 Georgia Early Literacy Requirements provides instructions and protocols for universal reading screeners, reading interventions, instructional materials and supports, and training programs for students and teachers in kindergarten through 3rd grade to support foundational literacy skills through the science of reading. House Bill 307 from the 2025 legislative session provided updates to the provisions of both the dyslexia identification requirements outlined in the Official Code Georgia Annotated Section 20-2-159.6 and the Georgia Early Literacy Act and the Official Code Georgia Annotated Section 20-2-153.1 to provide cohesion and alignment with the state's early literacy efforts. This rule is being repealed to make way for a new rule that incorporates the changes of House Bill 307. And if approved, again, the request for the repeal will be posted for at least 30 days for public review and comment.
Okay, any comments, questions, or concerns on item number 1?
So everybody understands what we're doing. Okay, great. And why?
Okay. Okay, we'll add item number 1 to the consent agenda. Item number 2, the dyslexia identification and support.
Item number 2 similarly is a rule repeal that is being requested for initiation, which will be posted for at least 30 days for public review and comment. State Board Rule 160-4-2-.39 dyslexia identification and support provides instructions and protocols for universal screening of students in kindergarten through 3rd grade for characteristics of dyslexia and other disorders. Again, House Bill 307 provided updates to the provisions of both the dyslexia identification requirements and the Georgia Early Literacy Act. So this rule is being repealed to make way for a new rule that incorporates the changes of both within House Bill 307.
Okay, any comments, questions, or concerns on item number 2? Okay, we will move item number 2 to the consent agenda. Item number 3, Georgia Early Literacy.
Yes, again, this rule is being requested for initiation, which means if it is approved, it will be posted for at least 30 days for public review and comment. Again, House Bill 307, which updated the provisions of both the dyslexia identification requirements and the Georgia Early Literacy Act, provides both cohesion and alignment in the state's literacy efforts. This new State Board Rule 160-4-2-.40 Georgia Early Literacy and Dyslexia requirement is being created to address the updates and changes outlined in House Bill 307 and incorporate those changes within one rule. If approved, this rule will be posted for at least 30 days for public review and comments.
Okay, any comments, questions, concerns? Ms.
I have
Whittemore?
a comment. As I read through this rule on page 6, F reporting, if you go down to number 2, it says each LBOE shall certify by August 1 each year to that it locally approved. That's what it reads, but I don't think that's what it's.
Yeah, just read it, state board. Okay, get that.
And a similar kind of tricky question about that on page 6 as well. It says when you're publishing the dyslexia informational handbook, that you would publish it on the website and distribute each year by electronic means to each local school system and public school. And I just kind of wondered if y'all had, if that's what you intended, that it was going to go directly to each school, or if it was, because that's what it says, and I didn't know if you even had that capability to email it to every school.
It does have to be published on the website. It does have to be published electronically to all members of the local school board. I'm trying to find exactly where the wording is written so I can just read and see it.
It's on page 6 under dyslexia informational handbook. I mean, that means you have to have an email address for every principal of every school. I just kind of.
LEA notifies their employees of their school system. So it wouldn't happen at the DOE level. It would happen by.
But that's not what this is saying. This is saying DOE will send it by electronic means to each local school system and public school.
And we do.
Yes.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
You do. Okay,
We
do that.
have the
Yes.
capability.
Okay. That's all I'm
They will distribute it to their employees. But yes, we do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we, whether it's district or school level, we have.
I didn't know if you could do school
Yeah,
level
we
or not,
do.
because that's a lot of schools, but, okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that's what you did.
All right, any other comments, questions on item number 3? With none, we will move item number 3 to the consent agenda. Dr. Taylor, item number 4, limited public school choice.
Again, this rule amendment is being requested for initiation, which means that if it is approved, it will be posted for at least 30 days for public review and comments. State Board Rule 160-5-4-.09, limited public school choice, is being amended to incorporate changes to the Official Code of Georgia Annotated Section 20-2-293 that were made with the passage of Senate Bill 233 from the 2024 legislative session. Official Code of Georgia Annotated Section 20-2-293 permits a student to attend and be included as an enrolled student in the public schools of a local unit of administration, other than the local unit of administration wherein the student resides, for the purpose of allotting state funds. A previous version of this law authorized the State Board to provide a procedure whereby a student shall, for such compelling reasons and circumstances as may be specified by the State Board, be permitted to attend and be included as an enrolled student in the public schools of a local unit of administration, other than the local unit of administration where the student resides, and it gave the board the authority to grant or refuse permission for students to attend such schools entirely at the board's discretion, and that such decision by the board be final and conclusive. Senate Bill 233, with the 2024 legislative session, amended the Official Code of Georgia Annotated Section 20-3-293 by removing the State Board's authority to grant or refuse permission for these students to attend schools in and enroll in an LUA other than the local unit of administration wherein the students reside, and now makes that decision subject only to the approval of the enrolling student and the local unit of administration in which the student seeks to enroll. Senate Bill 233 also added language providing details on the amount of tuition that an LUA may charge such student that resides in another local unit of administration. State Board Rule 160-5-4-.09, limited public school choice, is being amended to incorporate the changes outlined above and to remove language within the current rule that was applicable only to the 2000-2001 school year. Again, if approved, this rule will be posted for at least 30 days for public review and comment.
Any comments, questions, concerns?
I just make sure I understand this right. So essentially, it's all based on space, right? There's no guarantee. It's still based on space as up to the local, right? Whether an available school has space.
Yes.
That's up.
Any other comments, questions?
We're gonna get a lot of comment on this. 'Cause this is a fundamental change in the process. Prior to, to this point, if a student who lived in County A or District A wanted to go to a school in District B, District A had to approve the release of that student. Obviously, District B has to agree to accept the student, and also you have to have parent permission. This removes the requirement that District A approve the release of the student. So it has some ramifications that actually go probably beyond this rule, and it's likely that we'll see other rules coming forth later on, possible, that have to be revised as a result of this change in the law.
Is the definition of how tuition is that a change? I mean, I have a district in my a county and a city where that would be an issue. Is that a new change, or is that something that's been codified? What they can charge in tuition, the receiving school district.
The language that they added appears.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, part of that.
But it's still based on space. Like, I don't want I'm more concerned with the receiving school district. I don't want them to have to receive somebody if they think they can. Right.
They do not.
Yeah.
And
I just say, prior to this, local districts could set the tuition, whatever they want. I know some districts did not charge, some did. I'm not sure, Dr. Taylor, about transportation, of how that's got to handle once you cross district lines.
So the language in legislation just says that the two LEAs may decide to come to agreement on things like transportation.
So that is probably one of the biggest hindrances. Once you cross those lines, how does the kid get from point A to point B?
Right.
So would it be correct to say regarding the transportation issue that this legislation is pretty much silent or permissive on that issue, that there could be an agreement worked out between the two districts?
Yes.
But it's not required.
Clarify for anyone listening in this proposed rule.
Chrissy, could you stand up?
Yes, sorry.
Please.
Tiffany, can you clarify for anyone listening in this proposed rule, how much of this percentage is actually in law, or if there's additional interpretation from us and what the Department of Education's role is in the law to make it?
In terms of the language,
Yeah.
I mean, the language that we've incorporated within the rule is pretty much the language that is in the.
It mirrors
legislation.
the
Yeah.
state law.
So the state law has the definition of how much tuition can be charged.
That we took the exact language from state.
Okay.
And it's not an amount, it just clarifies that what can be included in our house to be calculated.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay, we will move item number 4 to the consent agenda.
And just point of, we do not have to take a separate vote on initiating rules, just on approving.
That's correct. So next month we will have 4.
before I get this right, I want to make sure we can initiate a rule and add it to the consent
Yes.
agenda. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
How are you gonna push out the information to get people to weigh in or make comments about this particular rule?
So we'll share, obviously, the information like we normally do for our public comment process. But we'll also put it in our superintendent's digest and this digest so that they're aware as well.
Does it go out to like, Gale and GASES and other organizations like that? To get them to kind of push it out even more to their members or?
Yes, and they usually, each of those organizations also do summaries and recaps to all of their members as well of board meetings, so it'll be there as well.
Well, I think we can
Make sure.
count on our guests in the room that represent those organizations to make sure that this information gets out as well. But
I want to make sure. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah, and I would add this, I think one of the things we have to look at, which this legislation does not address, is the Georgia High School Association.
Mhm.
So if you have athletes that are crossing over, that is another set of issues that you have as far as looking at student eligibility. So as a member of that executive board, I'm just letting you know that that is another issue that if that should arise, that
Different rules.
those are different rules.
we could put that in bold letters, that would help.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right about
This
this.
is not-
There's no impact on.
It's not the word I use, but I'm just saying, if you are crossing lines there, you have to look at certain,
HSA.
yeah, eligibility rules.
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Any questions from those joining us online? All right,
Okay, we'll move to item number 4 to the consent agenda. Item number 5, FY26 Special Education State Advisory Panel.
As required by the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, and State Board Rule 160-4-7-.01, purpose for exceptional students. The Special Education State Advisory Panel serves as an advisory group to the Department, the Division for Special Education Services and Supports, and the State Board of Education on issues related to special education and related services for children with disabilities. The State Advisory Panel advises the Department of Unmet Needs within the state in the education of children with disabilities, comments publicly on any rules or regulations proposed by the state regarding special education, advises the department in developing evaluations and reporting on data to the Federal Secretary of Education and the Office of Special Education Programs, advises the department in developing corrective action plans to address findings identified in federal monitoring reports under IDEA, and advises the department in developing and implementing policies relating to the coordination of services for children with disabilities. The composition of the State Advisory Panel is addressed in the IDEA and the Georgia Rules for Special Education. Members serve 3-year terms, and a majority of the panel members must be parents of children with disabilities or individuals with disabilities.
Any comments, questions, concerns?
just one, and it's a technical one. Some congressional districts have more than one representative and some have only one. Is that a function of enrollment?
Sure that all the congressional districts are represented, but also it's based on an application. So sometimes it may just be that those are the people that applied and went through the process.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments, questions on item number 5? If none, we'll move item number 5 to the consent agenda. Item number 6, FY26 Title I Committee of Practitioners.
Title I of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965, as amended by the Every Student Succeeds Act of 2015, requires that each state educational agency receiving funds under this title shall create a state committee of practitioners to advise the state in carrying out its responsibilities under this title. Members are nominated for 3-year terms by the Federal Programs Division and are approved by the State Board of Education. The Title I Committee of Practitioners currently has several vacancies to fill, and the State Board of Education approves the entire membership list each year. Board approval of the recommended replacements will assure that the Georgia Title I Committee of Practitioners has adequate membership to continue advising the state and carrying out its responsibilities as required by law. The recommended replacements to the committee membership include statewide representation of all required stakeholders in the decision of the Georgia Title I program and includes representation from each of Georgia's 14 congressional districts.
Okay. Comments, questions, concerns on item number 6?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Owen, could you give us a little more information about this and how the committee practitioners will help achieve the strategic goals of this partner agency?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we work on a model of make sure that all areas are represented as well as private space are part of this. We do basically build the agenda based on our priorities that we have for the year. We're supporting the priorities, also the superintendent. And a crucial role of this, just like with most advisory committees, is to get input from all of the participants that are on that so that we have two-way communication. They also help message out the information that we're trying to convey, but they do play a vital role in not just receiving the information, but really providing input from their roles, working with LEAs in the districts and families.
Thank you very much. I'm glad we got those funds.
So a lot of people.
All right, any other questions, comments concerning item number 6? Okay, no, we'll move item number 6 to the consent agenda. Item number 7, completion special school superintendent appointment.
The official code of Georgia annotated, section 20-2-2096.5, requires the state board to appoint a superintendent for each completion special school upon consideration of one or more recommendations from the state school superintendent and that school's governing board. The governing board for Southern Rivers Completion Special School, which is in Zone 4, voted to recommend Mr. Mark Maynor as the superintendent for a 1-year term beginning August 21st, 2025. Mr. Maynor was most recently the superintendent of Macon County Schools and also has experience as the former director of Gainesville Learning Academy and as a middle and high school teacher in Georgia.
So how many zones have a superintendent now?
So it would be, I think we have 3 of the 7 there now, so there will be 4 zones.
And is Mr. Maynor, is he here or?
He's not.
He's not. I was hoping to hear from him, just get to know. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, I'm online here.
Hello, Mr. Maynor. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm excited with you being the superintendent for the school in Zone 4.
Yes, ma'am. This is my 28th year in education. I've spent the last 20 years at Macon County, 12 as assistant superintendent, and the last 8 years as superintendent. I am looking forward to this opportunity. This is something that has been needed in our state. I'm glad to see that the state board is moving in this direction, and I'm looking forward to getting this completion school started in our area.
Thank you. I look forward to meeting you in person. Maybe I'll take a trip.
Yes, ma'am. Please do.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns? With none, we will move item number 7 to the consent agenda. Okay, Chairman DeJarnett, that concludes the Rules Committee meeting. And items 1 through 7, I will move to the consent agenda.
All right, items 1 through 7 to the consent agenda.
Yes, sir.
All right. We're on schedule. We're much closer this time. We're going to take a very brief 5-minute recess, and we'll start our district flexibility and charter schools committee meeting led by Ms. Zoller at 10:45. We're in recess. It's time for district flexibility and charter school committee items, and I'll turn it over to Chair Martha Zoller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In this meeting of the District Flexibility and Charter Schools Committee, we have 4 items today. So Tiffany, let's start with number 1.
First item, Hancock County Schools is requesting an amendment of its strategic waiver contract in order to add waivers to the contract. Hancock County Schools is requesting to waive the official Code of Georgia annotated sections 20-2-940 through 20-2-951 related to the Fair Dismissal Act in order to efficiently manage personnel and promptly address performance concerns while ensuring due process, as well as the official Code of Georgia annotated section 20-2-85 and 20-2-86 relating to school councils to provide flexibility in the composition of advisory councils to best meet the needs of their stakeholders. The Hancock County Board of Education approved this amendment request on March 3rd, 2025.
Any comments or questions? Yes.
So I made the assumption when I was reading this that they want to get, or they're wanting flexibility from the school councils. I made the assumption that it was because they're such a small school district and it's probably the same people that were serving in all of these things anyway. But can you clarify that? I mean, is that the reason?
Superintendent Anthony is on. Superintendent Anthony.
That is absolutely correct. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. But that is absolutely correct. The district is very small. Yes, ma'am.
I knew it was small. And I just kind of, when I read that, I thought, well, they're using the same people, so I kind of get what you're saying. But I wanted to make sure that was right.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Without objection, we will move number 1 to the consent agenda. Let's go to number 2. Item number 2.
Item number 2, Harris County Schools is requesting an amendment of its strategic contract in order to add waivers to the contract. Harris County Schools seeks to waive the official Code of Georgia annotated sections 20-2-940 through 20-2-948 to create local processes and procedures that enhance safety, high quality instruction, or district operations while allowing for due process to ensure that staffing decisions are based on student needs. The Harris County Board of Education approved this amendment request on July 1st, 2025.
Any comments or questions? Without objection, we'll move item 2 to the consent agenda. Let's move to item 3.
Item 3 and 4 are coming from Mr. Alan Mueller, or Donovan Head with the State Charter Schools Commission.
Great. Thank you so much. Welcome, gentlemen.
If we're not chained at the hip, I'm going to stay on here for
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Donovan Head. For those that don't know me, I'm the Executive Director of the State Charter Schools Commission of Georgia. I just want to give you an SCSC update. So in our July commission meeting, we approved 2 new charter schools. The Meloria School, which will go in Snellville, which is in Gwinnett County, and Northwest Georgia Charter Academy in Cave Spring, which is in Floyd County. I'll tell you a little bit about each of the schools. So for the Meloria School, this is our first charter high school in Gwinnett County, serving grades 6 through 12. Most of our 104 charter schools in Georgia are serving elementary grades. Some are serving middle school grades. It's very rare that we have them serving high school grades. So we're very excited to bring them into our portfolio and community. The school has a well-rounded board, including several career educators. The school leader is Dr. Christine Keck. She has educational leadership experience that spans multiple states and multiple charter schools. She was influential in her time in Mississippi, ushering in and advocating for the state literacy policy changes we've all come to know as the Mississippi Miracle, led by then School Superintendent Carrie Ann Wright. Her enthusiasm and dynamic personality is contagious. Sadly, on this note, Gwinnett County Schools denied this petition earlier this year. Since the school's seeking to serve just a single district, this triggers the accountability portion under SB 82 with a strike against Gwinnett County, which is our largest school district, serving well over 60,000 students. Honestly, it's probably double that. So under the new law, they get up to 3 strikes. So this won't trigger any accountability action at this time, but just for your awareness, that would be on the board. Of our 181 school districts, this will be only 2 with a strike. So that's Muskogee County and Gwinnett County. I also want to tell you about Northwest Georgia Charter School.
Mr. Head?
Yep.
Excuse me for interrupting you, but to be clear, when does the flexibility contract that Gwinnett currently operates under, when does it expire?
I have to defer to
2030.
2030. Okay.
Sorry,
2030.
what?
2030.
Yeah.
2030.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at that point, all strikes would be, off the board. And they have 3 under since they're above 60,000 that they can accrue.
So this is the first one.
This is the first,
Those
yeah.
are 3.
So for Northwest Georgia Charter School, this small community of Cave Spring, Georgia, and Floyd County is beyond excited for their new charter school. Their board is also well-rounded with community leaders, and their school leader has 30 years of experience as a classroom teacher, principal, and district leaders, deputy superintendent even, in the Floyd County school system, having worked with our good friend Buddy Costley during that time. Another impressive aspect of this school is the facilities agreement they were able to enter into with the School for the Deaf in Cave Spring. This allowed them facilities with minimal repairs needed for a small fraction of the cost of what most charter schools have to pay, which if you ask any charter leader, facilities is the most expensive and most challenging aspect of charter schools. Some of them spending more than 45% of per pupil funding on maintenance and on facility leases and maintenance. And so this is a win also for the state school there, as this was an unused building, an unused part of campus that they're now going to receive nearly $50,000 annually for to help with their costs as well. We can't wait to invite you all to the ribbon cuttings and grand openings for these schools in the fall. We respectfully ask for your affirmation for both of these schools, but I just want to note that both received SCSC staff recommendation for approval, and both were approved with unanimous votes from all 7 of our commissioners. I also wanted to give you an update on how it's going so far on the local authorization front. So as you all are aware, we've gone 7 years without a single local authorization of any of our 181 school districts. This year alone, and we think it's in large help from Senate Bill 82, we've had 3. So Clayton County back in June with a Tapestry School, that, which is an inclusion school that serves students, half of their population are students that are on the autism spectrum. And then the second was in Richmond County, which is their new authorizer. They've never authorized a charter school before. They authorized Georgia Discovery. And then lastly, Savannah Chatham just authorizing. I was told this was their first unanimous authorization vote for REACH, which is a credit recovery school that'll serve the community in Savannah. So we're very proud to be, now they're beating us actually. So you have 3 locals and two state charters. And I will just note, we do have a meeting coming up in August where we will consider, and there is a SCSC staff approval for the Academy of Innovation in Medicine. This would locate within Atlanta. It is a partnership between the Morehouse School of Medicine and Grady Healthcare. Unfortunately, Atlanta Public Schools did vote this past week or 2 to deny the school's petition, so that it will come to us. This will not, if approved, would not result in a strike because it seeks to serve multiple districts, but we'll certainly keep you apprised of how that vote goes. But if that is approved, that would be our 3rd. So then we're 50-50 on that front. And lastly, I just want to thank the board members that are visiting, and along with Superintendent Woods tomorrow, to Cherokee Classical Academy in Canton. We will be we have a really special guest and Second Lady of the United States, Usha Vance. So we're excited to have you all there. And I'll turn it over to Alan.
Hey, everyone. I did want to add one thing, that even though for that first strike, as Donovan mentioned, there is no immediate action taken, anyone against Gwinnett County, they did reach out to us immediately, their charter liaison, to meet next week to do some training and talk about
for the difference at what we look for in our expectations, which is exactly what we want to see, right? We all want to get on the same page. So that made us optimistic. We have two items. The first item is, that's what Dawn was talking about, the state charter school approval affirmations. So I'll go ahead and start there. On July 30th, 2025, the State Charter Schools Commission met to consider petitions for state charter school approvals. The commission voted to grant charter contracts for the Meliora School, serving students in grades 6 through 12 in the Gwinnett County School District, and Northwest Georgia Charter Academy, serving students in grades K-12 in the following districts: Floyd, Polk, and Rome City schools. Under OCGA 20-2-2083, the state board may overrule the SCSC's approval of new or renewed state charter schools within 60 days of the commission's decision upon a majority vote of the state board members. The 60-day state board overrule period for these decisions ends on September 28, 2025. Rather than leave open for 60 days the question of whether the state board will overrule the decision, the practice of the state board since 2013 has been to expedite its decision so that state charter schools will know as soon as possible whether their charter approval or renewal will be overruled. So this is calling for an affirmation, not an approval.
Great. And that's for item 3, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So
Contracts for 5 years?
yes, they're both 5-year.
yes. So we will move item 3 without objection to the consent agenda. So item 4.
Okay.
Okay, great.
All right. So, and the next item is a renewal for Utopian Academy of the Arts Elementary School. So this is an elementary grades charter school located in Clayton County. Utopian currently has 4 charter schools, all located there. They do the full span from K through 12, and then have the Trilith, which is an arts-centered program there. So this is for renewal for the elementary campus of the school. There's one thing I wanted to point out before I get into the description is we're trying something a little bit different here. This is with the contract. This is something that the commission has used with success. We've never done it for locally approved schools, but that's to create a conditional contract where rather than saying we're just going to give you, we see 1 or 2 problems possibly or challenges, but overall you're doing a good job, but we don't give you a shorter term. In the past, when local districts have moved for a shorter term, that's been it, right? And then that, of course, means the charter schools almost immediately have to start preparing again. In this case, we are using a conditional contract. We're adding an additional 2 years onto the 3-year decision if the school meets certain goals within the 3-year term. So it doesn't happen automatically. It has to be, it's a decision that the Utopian and y'all have to make, right? That it can be done by letter rather than by actual action at that point. So I'll go ahead, and if you have any questions about that, I included the contract in what I sent to you, but I'll go ahead and start reading there. The Clayton County Board of Education approved Utopian Academy for the Arts Elementary Schools charter petition on May 27th, 2025 for a 3-year term with those conditions I mentioned. Utopian Academy for the Arts Elementary Schools mission is, through a structured and supportive environment, we'll develop academic and artistic students to enter and to succeed in the global society with proficiency to enroll in a college, university, or a specialty school of their choice. So Utopian Academy for the Arts Elementary will implement the following essential and innovative features over this current contract term they're proposing. Classes in the fine, dramatic, and media arts, utilizing data from all aspects of its operation to inform decision-making and improve student performance, using technology and integrating it into the school's academic program and culture. Utopian Academy for the Arts Elementary School will serve grades K through 5, approximately 300 students in each year of its proposed charter term, which will be its 2nd term. Enrollment will be open to any student who resides within Clayton County School District and according to the enrollment priorities. So I wanted to mention also, as I've been doing the last few times we've met, I included the clarification letter that I sent to the school, because these were the points we really thought both the Charter Advisory Committee and our internal reviewers thought were the most important, and things that Clayton County pointed out also was kind of the sticking points. And you'll see that you can, of course, feel free to ask questions about any of them, but the 2 points that really caused this shorter term with the additional possibility were the content mastery drop. So they've had content mastery gains, but this last year there was a drop. So we asked them to explain that, and you'll see they delineated some of the reasons which made sense to us. And then the second is a finance issue, right? So they have a pretty large a net position deficit. And what was worrisome, and this is what Clayton County was most worried about, is that it basically doubled over the last 2 years. They're about $600,000 in the hole, and then it was 1.2 million. So we asked them to explain that. And you'll see they both provided an explanation and some points of action to take to get back in to increase their viability. There are a couple of things I think that are important to understand for context. One is that they're part of a network, and the network also, all the schools earn revenue, so they can move things around to cover deficits within the network. So that is something that they can do. So our concern is a little less dire, that they will shut or something like that. This is a relatively new school compared to the other schools, so I think there's just some growing pains. You notice that specifically they mentioned not being part of the school's lunch program. That accounts for all of the deficit in 1 year and about half of it in the next year. So they are back on track for that. So at least that part, we know specifically will be addressed, and then those other things they mentioned are things they're going to be focused on. So one thing that raised a question about the conditional language in the contract for the Charter Advisory Committee was that it calls for the school to meet academic and financial standards in the next year, which is not a lot of time, right? So that's not a lot of time to recoup. But I want to point out that if they do not make them in a year, it doesn't close the school, it just puts in that 3-year contract, so we get to look at them a little sooner. We're confident that they will be able to meet those goals. That's why they use the strategy, but I welcome any questions you have. And I should also say we have some folks from Utopian in the room and online. In the room, we have the executive director, Dr. Pamela Dingle, who's there. We have the board chair, Mr. Joshua Menifee is there. And then online, Dr. Marcus Broadhead, who is their director of development. We have Artesius Miller, who runs the whole show. Dr. Miller is online as well. So if you have questions for me or for them, please ask.
Any questions?
I don't have a question because actually I read all of these documents and it all made sense to me. And I liked the 3-year with 2-year thing. Everything about that made sense. So I actually really don't have any questions because I totally saw the thought process there and totally got it. I am curious though about the lunch thing.
Yeah.
Why did they not do this? What are you talking
Right.
about when you say they decided not to do the school lunch and how that impacted their finances?
Yeah.
And that's just clarification for me.
And for us too. So I will say, I'll start it and then pass it to either Dr. Dingle or to Dr. Miller. So it wasn't that they chose to not participate. They were actually found to be, there was a challenge. They were pulled out. Clayton pulled them out of the program because someone was lacking a certification, I believe, something like that. But they'll correct me if I'm wrong. So Dr. Dingle, do you want to take that, or Dr. Miller?
Thanks so much, Alan. Can you all hear me?
We can.
Okay, so you hit the hammer on the nail. For us, we went like maybe 2 or 3 years without any reimbursement from the school lunch program. We're officially back online. So as you can imagine, the program itself was not just for our elementary school, but for all of our schools. But now that we have that, our cash flow has improved significantly, and we're also able to establish more of a reserve, which we could not do before. So we're in a much more healthier position now that we have that. And so we're just really grateful for Dr. Lynette Dotson and her team for making sure that we're back online.
Right, Dr. Miller, that's great. I think the question was specifically why were you not part of Clayton's program, or what happened to cause you to stop being part of it or to not be able to join?
Yeah, so there was a compliance with regards to our staff certification requirements that were not met. So we worked very closely with Dr. Dotson and her team to ensure that the certification that was not in place, we had to make a change in personnel with bringing in a new school nutrition director. In addition to that, there were also some additional trainings and guidances that our team was required for monthly claims and reporting that we now have in place as well.
So just to make clear, during this period, you were actually providing school lunch, you just weren't getting reimbursed for it?
That is correct. For about a 3-year period,
That's
we were not reimbursed.
Bottom line right there.
Yeah.
For about 3 years.
Yeah.
Thank you. one thing I wanted to mention, because I anticipated there might be questions, I don't know if, but you'll notice at the end of the clarification letter, we asked them to respond. This wasn't provided in the original petition, to give us their discipline data. So you'll see there's a blank thing there, which is sort of odd.
Right.
And and didn't get a chance to add anything additional. The reason that it's blank is because they have not had any discipline issues, so there really isn't a
That's
point
what
of
they said.
comparison. Yeah, so it says it narratively, but it's not just seeing that blank chart
Yeah.
might have caused folks to scratch their heads. Yes, ma'am.
I've been with Utopia since the beginning. Hello, Dr. Miller. And this is Lisa Kennemore. And I've seen where they've come from the beginning up to now. Is phenomenal. I've gone to the school, I've visited the schools, I've talked with the parents, I've talked with the students, and I like what they're doing. And I also am glad that they are adding a mirror and beacon for testing as a tool to monitor their students' progress so that they will have a heads up when it comes down to all of the, points that they need to have for each of their children progression. And I also saw that you're getting ready to add introduction to animation. And that is going to be very interesting. I went to their school that's over on the Trilla. Yeah. So with it going into the elementary area, that is going to be phenomenal. I mean, those kids over there at the school at Trilla, they just blew me away. I enjoyed it so much. So I just want to say kudos to that and thank you for just having our kids and opening up an opportunity for them to advance in many different areas and skill sets that are not available in the regular public schools. And also just being able to, I was looking at the discipline, and I love that, mentoring, just helping the kids along and helping them understand why it's not allowed. I really enjoy that. So you can speak to that, Dr. Miller, if you want to. Thank you.
Ms. Kenmore, I appreciate your warm words, and we really appreciate your support throughout the years, because as you've shared, you really have watched us grow from a single site school into more of a K-12 organization. Our focus, and I just want to echo the sentiments that Alan shared just a few minutes ago with regards to student discipline data. A lot of that is student-centered with our principal, Dr. Selena Dukes-Walton, who's also with us virtually this morning as well. We are really strong with restorative practices, and it's our focus to make sure that our students are in school as much as we can. And so we're really proud that we've been able to really promote that in our small learning environments. With regards to animation, our focus at Utopian is to be very intentional about arts-based education. But more importantly, our focus is to really tie the intersection as a K-12 school network with local industries and local economies right here in our backyard in Georgia. So we really want to reshape the narrative for opportunities as relates to the arts, for our students to have really careers directly from the classroom. And so animation is a pathway that we initially have launched with our middle and high school students, but we see the interest from some of our youngest learners. And so we want them to see careers that traditionally may not be made available in elementary school education. And we're able to say that now that we have graduates, we have students that are in the film and television industry as artists because they got their start at Utopian. So we're just really grateful for the support to be able to do this work. And as Ms. Kennemore shared, she's visited our Trilla campus. We would love to host the state board down to any of our schools. And I just want to say just lastly, while my mic is hot, we really appreciate the leadership of Mr. Alan Mueller. He's done an incredible job, even in his transition with the State Charter Schools Commission now. And so we're just really grateful to do this work and as partners in education. So thank you all again.
Thanks. I forgot to mention this, that we're very grateful for Clayton County for being supportive and proactive. We've already talked about Tapestry, but Natasha Jefferson, who's from their charter office, is on the line. So while she's on the line, I just wanted to say thanks for your hard work too.
I guess I have one quick question.
Yes, sir.
Clarification. For $1.2 million in the red, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I said, I've been out to Utopia. I remember when they were the one school, and they do a phenomenal job. But like I said, we're 1.2 million in the red. So I guess we have a solid plan to get into the black. Because I think when I heard you're saying I'm shifting money and funds around,
Right.
you know, that, I'd say from a business standpoint, that sometimes can be somewhat problematic.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately we want to be self-sustaining. So I'm just trying to think, what does that process look like? I mean, I think we've taken it as far as looking at the lunch and getting that, but we still owe $1.2 million.
Right. And part of that, we've seen this challenge before when individual charter schools grow into networks.
Yes.
So I think that is kind of where we are here. We're seeing the growing pains of really, because they're just at the size now where they can create a central office, the way that KIPP did and APS and a few other folks have done. So that's where we were most concerned as well. And we remain concerned. And that's why we want to give that stop and check in a year. But you're absolutely right. That's serious.
Yeah, well, I mean, because we deal with it even at public schools. I mean, just our regular schools, and I just know financial oversight. It
can't be minimized.
Yeah, well, especially when you have a good working relationship with the host county, Clayton County, and again, that has evolved, and I think definitely has improved over the years.
Yeah.
So I'm just again trying to think safeguards that are out there. Like I said, Utopia's done a fantastic job and opened up a lot of opportunities for kids.
Right.
And I would hate to see all of that go to waste because of, some financial issues there.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will move item 4, if there's no more discussion, to the consent agenda. So we will move items 1, 2, and 3, and 4 to the consent agenda. Mr. Chairman, but I also wanted to say we worked really hard as a committee with the staff at Godot as well as with the State Charter School Commission to be sure that we have all the data that we need to be able to make these decisions as much ahead of time. I know I give you a hard time and I give the staff a hard time about getting this stuff in as quickly as possible so that we'll have time to review it. And I want to thank everybody that's been involved in that. Tiffany and her team, as well as you, to be able to do that so that we have this information ahead of time. Thank you very much. And at that, we will adjourn this committee meeting.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Zoller. So it appears at this point that all of the items for all 3 committees will appear on a consent agenda this afternoon. Is there any further questions from those of you in the room or from those of you online? Hearing none. Pardon me?
Regarding
the agenda.
This call is no longer being recorded.
Please go ahead.
I had a question about a few of the items on the 50K and under items for information.
Budget committee?
No, the extra.
Oh, the extra got, oh, I see it. Sorry, apologize.
Not budget. Yeah, these are items for information. Is there one in particular?
Yeah, I had a question. I see that there is a federal funded contract for Michael Cabuto and to develop a learning opportunity for teachers to learn more about education policy. I'd like to find out a little bit more about that.
But again, that's nothing new. We've actually been working with Michael. Again, for those who don't know Michael Cabuto, he was one of our previous teacher of the year. And so one of the things we've done is giving teachers an opportunity to expand leadership opportunities, to give them an insight of what does the world of education look like at a leadership level, giving them experience of how to become a better teacher. If I want to go into leadership, what does that look like? We give them a taste of the federal side. So we've actually had meetings up in DC, meeting with our members of the U.S. Department of Education, meeting with our congressional delegation to give them a glimpse of potentially what they can grow into and become. So again, this is something we just contract out. And again, I don't know, Christy, were you involved with that the previous year, I think?
So in addition to what the superintendent spoke about, the visits to Washington, which was privately funded by a donor, but we also had connections here in Georgia as well, going over to the Capital and Learning. Michael leads monthly professional development with that cohort of teachers. It's a competitive selection process. Last year, we had well over 100 teachers who applied. And we had, I think it was right around 24 teachers that represented from all over the state. So they learn about the function of policy and education, how it's made. So they actually met with Stan and learned about what the state board does. They were encouraged to attend a local Board of Education meeting. From there, they met with legislators, sort of got to see the whole side of how it comes together. They do a capstone project in an area of interest. So we had some focus on school safety, some focus on teacher recruitment and retention. They interact with staff and get feedback, and it actually helps inform some of the policy making that we do. So it's a really meaningful partnership, and Michael steers that monthly, doing those cohort in-person virtual meetings.
Okay, another item, Nicole Gay. He's going to be working with, I think it's the Chief of Staff, role, Matt Jones and Christy Todd. I just wanted to find out more about that.
Christy?
Yes.
Yeah.
You repeat that for me, Lisa.
Gay, Allison Nicole Gay.
Yes. So she has been a contract employee with the department for over the last year. She reads through a lot, but as you know, we have a lot of policy that comes in, things to read. So she helps go through different elements that may come up that we need other sets of eyes. She really helps with sort of some of the administrative duties of working on getting what the board needs and what the department of education needs.
Okay. And one more. I'm glad that Jennifer Lindstrom is going to be on for another year, and I just want to give kudos to her for the handbook, for the dyslexia handbook. She put a lot of work into that, and I'm sure parents of kids who have characteristics of dyslexia appreciate it. And I'm glad that it's updated, and a lot of the information from the Senate bills and all have been included in that. So I just wanted to say, thank you for continuing to allow her to come in and to expand on the work that she's done. April, thank you.
And new board members, just for clarification, the items under 50,000 do not require board approval. They're brought to us as a bit of information, but thank you for the questions. Mr. Moore. Any other questions? All right, then hearing none, I'm gonna recess I'll adjourn the committee meetings today. Board members, we will go into executive session at 11:30 and we'll be in another room. So if you'll, pardon? Okay, and I'll entertain it. And then we'll be back, for those of you that are in the room, we'll be back in here for our committee of the whole meeting at 1 p.m. So I'll call for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Motion, Kennemore.
Second.
Second, Dove. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion carries unanimous. We are adjourned till 1 p.m. Thank you.